Good morning. Welcome to the Divine Fellowship. I'm Pastor Phil, and welcome to the only church in the universe that starts the services off with the Doobie Brothers. So, absolutely. And I walked off without all my stuff. So, I'll be right back.
Come back.
Hey, we have eggs in the kitchen if there's any left. We have a box full of gala apples, and there's going to be more galas next week. And I guess you have to wash the galas because they're covered in mud. Oh, that's clay. And the clay is there to keep keep them from being sunburned. And control the color. So when your kids come to you and they've just been playing in the mud, and they tell you that, oh, I'm just trying to protect myself, Mom. That's where they got it from. That's where they got it from. So, we do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. And one is slightly more reverent or irreverent than the other. You pick. John, all we're saying is give peace a chance. Could you turn it down a little bit, Jen? Thank you. I'm a little bit hot. Oh, it's the sound. It's the sound, guys. So, okay. And George, may the forces of evil become confused on the way to your house. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A bore is a man or a woman who derives their solitude without providing you with company. Again? Well, I'll actually read it. A bore is a man who deprives you of solitude without providing you with company. Yeah. He who is slowest in making a promise is most faithful in its performance. Ta-da. Let's see, company picnic, church picnic, September 13th? 13th, all right, at Columbia Point. So, be there, be square. American frontiersmen hunted game under conditions that would puzzle modern sportsmen. Their crude flintlock guns were a big handicap. When the trigger was snapped, friction between the steel and flint might produce a spark, and it might not. Even a strong spark did not guarantee that the gun would fire. It was equipped with a shallow pan in which a trail of powder led from the flint to the charge. Dampness or rough handling frequently broke the thin line of powder. In these cases, there was a flash of light, but the gun did not fire. The phrase, "flash in the pan," came to stand for any quick and dazzling failure. Now you know where that one came from. I was puzzled about this one, actually. The strawberry is the only fruit with seeds on the outside of the skin. What about berries? So the yeah. So like blackberries and things, those are actually inside. Is that what that's what I'm thinking of. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, I guess. Okay, more of these words, phrases that are respelled. Actually, and they're taking the same letters and respelling words. It's kind of amazing. It really is. The eyes rearrange, they see. George Bush, he bugs Gore. The Morse code, here come dots. Dormitory, dirty room. There you go. Okay. These are more lexiphiles, lovers of words. The guy who fell onto an upholstery machine was fully covered. You are stuck with your debt if you can't budge it. He broke into song because he couldn't find the key. A calendar's days are numbered. And a boiled egg is hard to beat. Actually, there's one more here. He had a photographic memory which was never developed. There. Anything else going on? You want to do that? Okay. Nobody listens anyway.
I know.
I mean, we get calls during the week and it says, "Were you there on Sunday?" "Oh yeah." "Were you there when she read everything on the calendar?" "Yeah, it was on there." Oh. But that's okay. That's okay. I should be used to it. Jan hasn't listened to me in years, so. I know you do.
Even your thoughts sometimes.
Oh boy. Oh, let's see. We'd known each other 2 days, and yeah, trust me. Yeah, she freaked me out about that one.
Yay, Janice. Okay. So, on Monday, we have a motion code. Do you want to talk about what that is? Okay.
It is awesome. It's a very, very simple technique. We use muscle testing, ask the body questions, yes or no, and determine if there's emotions that are trapped in the body. And if we can find them, we use a magnet to release them, and people get amazing results in all areas of life. So the workshop is here. You get to actually try it. We walk you through the whole process, and it's at 6:30 to 8 on Mondays.
And I've made a magnet that's so big that it'll get rid of them like that.
So if you have any questions about that, you can talk to Crystal, and her phone number is on the calendar, so feel free to pick one of those up. We have Drum Circle on Tuesday. Awesome. Daryl is leading that. His phone number is on the calendar. Interchange with Sandra and William. That's a love donation. That is at 7 o'clock. And their phone number is also on the calendar if you want to talk to them. On Thursday, we've got Intuitive Development with Janice, $10 donation. And the ARE will be meeting at 6:30. Nothing so far on Friday and Saturday. Just a preview of things to come. We've got Spirit Thursday coming up. That's going to be the first Thursday in September. I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet for anybody that would like to be a reader, and we're going to open this up to the public. So we're going to try to accommodate all of the readers that we can, but you may be 1 week instead of the first week. But I will call and set that up with everybody. And then we're going to have Indigo Children, a talk on that. Does everybody understand what Indigo Children are? You want to talk
just
about
think
that?
of me.
Yeah, think of Phil.
Well, my son's not here today. He talked about this a little bit last week. He's the one that's giving this talk. And if you suspect or think that you might have a child that is an Indigo Child, this is going to be well worth your time. I wish that I knew this stuff when I was raising him. And unfortunately, he met the person who originally, at very first, recognized the indigo color and the indigo. I don't know all about what kind of a, energy it is for them. He's really up on it though. And he got the privilege of meeting this Nancy Ann Tappy, and you can look her up online. She has since passed away a few years ago. It is amazing what she has taught him and what I have learned. And I read her book after he was an adult and out on his own. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had known this when I was raising him. It would have been so much easier. And so anyway, he's got some very good insight on this as an Indigo Child himself. So it's well worth your time to hear about it, yes. That's something that I really don't know. It's just, you know how they say that everybody is born with a life color, and they say, you know how they have the crystal, they talk about crystal children that are being born now. There are different energies of these children. There's a lot of adults in this room who may be indigos and may not even know it. They were being recognized. I think it was like in the 80s when she first started recognizing this color, and I'm afraid I can't. You know what it, yeah, see?
You know, I don't know if I can. I guess the easiest way to describe that is to talk about me a little bit, and simply because I questioned things in my religion when I was 5 years old and said, wait a minute, that's not right. And then when I was 6, and then when I was 7, and got hit by the nuns a couple times because of the questions I was asking. So I guess it's someone that seems to be more aware than others at a very young age.
Very young age, yep.
So it certainly could be. Certainly can be.
And I'll tell you, if you come to his talk Tuesday the 25th, he's going to be able to explain it even in depth. He'll know, and he'll be able to tell you exactly. Yeah, that's what they were just saying. Yeah. He was saying George Washington was considered to be an old soul, and that they like they said up here that they're considered to be old souls. So anyway, come to his talk. You won't be disappointed, and it'll really explain a lot of things.
With a microphone?
If you have someone in your life you just don't understand, they could be an indigo. You might want to come to this class.
So if you have any other questions, come to the class. Yeah, it's wrong on the calendar. It's going to be about the Indigo Child. It's not low-level laser therapy benefits. So that will be from 6:30 to 8:30 on the 25th. So I'm kind of anxious to come because I want to find out more. So other than that, that's it.
Thanks. Yeah, when we first heard about it, I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. And Jan looks at me and she goes, they're describing you. I go, oh, really? So, okay, cool. That'd be fun. It is so much fun to have so many things going on at the church. Oh my goodness. When Jan and I started this almost 18 years ago now, this was one of the things that we wanted to have happen, is stuff going on all the time. So this is cool. St. Peter sitting at the pearly gates when two guys wearing dark hoodies and sagging pants arrive. St. Peter looked out through the gates and said, wait here, I'll be right back. St. Peter goes over to God's chambers and tells him who is waiting for entrance. God says to Peter, how many times do I have to tell you, you can't judge everybody. This is heaven. All are loved, all are brothers. Go back and let them in. St. Peter goes back to the gates, looks around, lets out a heavy sigh, returns to God's chambers and says, well, they're gone. God, the guys wearing hoodies, ask God? No, the pearly gates. Oops. Oops.
Grown.
Yeah, oh, I know. If people don't know that I'm kidding, well, tune in later and find out. So. I remember the song.
All right.
Hole in the Wall.
All right. Hole in the wall.
Isn't it?
Indigo. He's an indigo. He's an indigo. You do not need to understand. Just no. He's just just an indigo. Oh, goodness. I have so much to tell you. You know, we freak each other out, so I guess it all works out. Oh, we have stories. Want to tell you about trauma. I had a trauma recently. And how I'm dealing with trauma. Phil and I take the dog for a walk, come home. There's a sign out on this piece of property that's behind our land, behind our house. And this, it's been empty, just nothing but weeds for years and years and years and years. And there's construction. And that piece of property is zoned multifamily. So I don't know about you, but my default mechanism goes, oh my God, it's going to be terrible. Spit on myself. Not that you would ever do that, but that's my default. So, and Phil kind of had the same one. So we thought, we need to go down to the city and just see what's up. We just need to do that. So there's that brief time from getting walking shoes on to street shoes on in the car to the city hall, where we had the opportunity to play the game Ain't It Awful. Have you ever played that? Ain't it awful? This is just the horriblest thing, most worst thing that's ever going to happen. It's just awful, and ain't it awful, and terrible, and we were starting to get ourselves really spun up. And so we had to okay, well, we don't know the truth. We just know our assumptions. So we're just going to kind of hold on to that, and we'll see what's going on. So we get in, try to be nice to the people behind the counter, because it's just stuff to them. They don't really care. So I mean, it's not that they don't care, but it's like they don't care. My trauma is not their trauma, so they're going to be okay with that. I get to be traumatized. So the point is that it was really important for us to be nice to them. It's not their trauma. So we were being really nice to these people and asking questions, and they were so nice. They were going to get a printout for us, and as we were talking to these people, and a guy came in that Phil knew. He'd worked with him in the past. So they went to go pick up the copy from the printer, and yes, we're supposed to get a notification, and here's when that notification will arrive, blah, blah, blah. Phil says, hey, Brad, how you doing? And, I'm doing really good. Got a couple of new projects. Well, Phil says, do you know anything about the land owned by Pringle? Well, apparently it was on 10th and Columbia Center Boulevard. It's going to be developed. He goes, that's my project. So the one person who could give us all of the details that we needed was right there. He had just happened to stop in to talk to the city about another project. I'm sure that was just a coincidence. So the big Ain't It Awful that we were playing was not true at all. So found out that it is multifamily, but it's like condominiums, and it's like a nice little community, and the people right behind us are going to be little houses with little lawns. So it'll be fine. And they're going to put up a fence. So I thought, what was my first default mode? Ain't it awful? So my first thought was, remember how much I didn't like that white trailer? Big, white, ugly. Because they said, well, it's going to be a vinyl fence. You'll never have to paint. Oh, big, white. So we just kind of were with that. Okay, we'll figure that out later. So then he told us where another area was going to be like that. So we drove through it. Oh, really nice. It's really nice. It's going to look really nice. Now, how nice is that going to be? And the foot is 7 foot. The fence is 7 foot, but it's this really nice taupey tan color. Oh, I can live with that. I can live with that. Then I can move some plants in front of that. And then we found out that the fence was right where the existing fence line is. We have 7 Russian olives right on that fence line. And I prefer greenery to a fence. Now here's the thing with I prefer. It's very empowering in a positive way. Because not only do I play Ain't It Awful quickly, that default mechanism, but when I have feelings, they're usually really strong, one way or the other. So imagine this. Imagine saying, I hate that idea. And all the energy that goes with that, and that feeling that they should make my world okay. But if you say, I prefer, it's like, well then, you get to have your preference, and the world doesn't have to revolve around that preference, and we get to make a new plan and think a new thought. But as soon as we lock and load in, I hate that, boy, I could go there real fast. I'm real good at it. To back up a little bit and go, I prefer. So then I cried. I'm going to lose my trees. My mother loved those trees. This is the house that we got from my mother, who bought from my brother, so we call it the homestead. Those trees have been there for years. And then I thought, those are Russian olives. Russian olives bloom a stinky smell. They have thorns this big. It doesn't matter how much you water them, there's always dead, black, icky stuff hanging, dead branches hanging around. So I got over that pretty quick. Then there are three of these trees that are actually on our property line, but all the branches are on their side. So I thought, what if, awful, ain't it awful? Wouldn't it be awful if they just cut half the tree and we had a half an ugly tree hanging in, and it's a Russian olive ugly half a tree? Wouldn't that be awful? Don't you just love life? You're so welcome that I can do this for you and reveal to you something that I'm sure you have no concept of. So then it's like, what if they fight us on? What if they make us pay to take those trees down? Oh my God, oh my God. So back that train up. Thank you for that default mechanism. See, we have this default mechanism of the negative mindset for survival in the old days, when it was survival of the fittest and our life depended on it. Because if it wasn't really, really good, you needed to run really fast. Well, that's not appropriate anymore. You can either run or fight. What's the third one? Run? Freeze. Run, fight, or freeze. And so those are really not options in our normal world nowadays. We don't really get to do that. So we get to look at standing our ground, literally, and negotiating. And that could look like conflict. Oh my God, it could look like conflict! Or it could look like just asking for what we want and seeing what we can do about that. And if we don't get what we prefer, then we need to make a new plan on what that might look like. So why am I telling you this? Because it's funny? Yeah. Because it's funny. Life is just really, really funny. But at the same time, it's real important to realize that it's human nature to go, ain't it awful? It's divine nature within us to step back and say, I prefer. And what's my next choice? And to get out of that primal brain back here that says fight, flight, or freeze. And move into a cognitive place, an awareness state of mind of saying, just because it is different doesn't mean it's bad. The only constant in this world is change. And just because it's different doesn't make it bad. I prefer it to be this way because I'm used to that, even though it's yucky. I have terrible allergies against Russian olives, but I'm going to miss those trees because since they've been there this whole time. I don't know what this fence is going to look like. It could be really ugly. Or it could look really nice. And I could put some new plants out there and have a nice little border. It could be really fun. It could be really good. So here's the deal. We think sometimes that that natural response to things means that that's how it should be. We get trapped in that. We get trapped into thinking that because I reacted that way, I have to stay stuck that way. We don't have to. We don't have to. We can make a new choice if we can move into a state of awareness. And sometimes a state of awareness is like just recognizing how really ridiculous it is. When just shifting from, I hate the fact they're taking out my trees, to, I prefer, just changed everything. It was like, oh, well, who do you think you are? I had to laugh. So I prefer. Well, good for you. I'm glad you prefer that. I can stop taking myself so seriously. It's not the end of the world. And then I can think of all the positive things about having that subdivision right there. Less noise from 10th and Columbus Center Boulevard, less weeds, less dry tinder that could catch fire. There's all kinds of wonderful things. Then I was telling my brother about it. He said, oh, well, my wife and I might have to buy one of those. How fun would that be? I like my brother. He's a good guy. So having him as a neighbor would be really cool. So how fun would that be? So just because we step into a place of trauma doesn't mean we have to stay there. And how long we stay there is okay. You know, sometimes you just gotta wallow. You know, it's yucky and I don't like it and I want it my way and it doesn't get to be this way. And, you know, sometimes we have to stay in that for a while. Meander around in that for a while. And when you find yourself doing that, you might want to say, well, I prefer. And see if you can find the laughter in there, because it's there. It's really there. If you don't laugh at yourself, somebody else will. Say it to the mirror. I prefer. Say it to yourself right now. I prefer. Doesn't that just feel funny? Let go of all that stuff. It doesn't have to be so rigid. So I want to share with you also the fact that, you know, we're still not done with that, and we have to negotiate. And that's really a challenge, really a challenge. Bill and I got to talking the other day about a totally different subject, and it came up that so many religious, spiritual people think they have to be a doormat. Well, if I'm all love and light, I just have to let people walk all over me. I think that's hooey. And here's why. You know, a lot of people will quote the good book. And the good book says, turn the other cheek. Do you know the real story behind that? I'm going to tell you the real story behind that. It's not so they can smack you the other side. There's a trick to it. I need a volunteer. Who wants to volunteer? Tracy, get your face up here. This girl trusts me.
She's so excited to get smacked.
So, in the time that Bible verse was written, the Romans inhabited Israel. And the Romans it was a police state. They could do whatever they wanted to do. They was pretty tough people. So if they didn't like you, they could smack you. So if I smacked you this way, now turn the other cheek. Okay, I can't smack you again, and this hand is reserved for equals. So if I slap her with this hand, I'm telling you, you're not someone that I'm occupying your country. You're my equal. If I smack you with the back of my hand, that dishonors me. I'm a coward. So turn the other cheek takes your power back. Yes. Thank you.
See? I got some power.
So So turning the other cheek isn't this tool by which you are a doormat. It's giving you your power, giving you the power of choice of how to be treated in a non-combative way. If someone in the Roman times defied a Roman, they could kill them without a second thought. They were trained to do that. So it was dangerous for them to be defiant. And it crushed the soul to be a doormat. So by turning the other cheek, you can reclaim your power. Conflict isn't the enemy. That feeling powerless is the enemy, or feeling as if I have to take your power in order to have any power. That's the enemy. That's the real enemy. So conflict happens. We prefer there not to be any conflict in the world, but there it is sometimes. And sometimes conflict is good. It challenges us to think a new thought or act a different way or do something differently. But even in that conflict, we can maintain a spiritual stance and be treated as an equal. Reclaim that power. Same thing with go the second mile. A Roman could press anyone into service and make them carry their stuff for a mile. If you did that cheerfully and then say, oh no, let me carry it an extra mile, totally defeated that energy or that need to oppress you. You're no longer being oppressed. So if you have someone at work who's just telling you how you should do it cheerfully and do more. And that disempowers that action of you being less than, because you've taken your power back. How awesome is that? Are there situations in your life where you feel powerless? You've lost your power? Being retaliatory isn't good. Having that passive aggressiveness, not saying your truth or undermining somebody behind the scenes because you don't feel like you have the power, that undermines you. That crushes the spirit. That crushes our soul. So know your truth. The truth is, I'm an equal. I have a preference. I'd really like to see that happen, but I also know you have a preference, and I'd like us to have a win-win. So let's see if we can work that out. That takes your power back. When you have your power back, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable, because your soul is not defeated. When we walk around with a defeated soul, everything we try turns to dust, because there's no power within. So reclaim your power. Reclaim your power with joy, with courage, with grace, with laughter, and a strength that comes from within. That someone else's opinion of me, someone else's need to overpower or be aggressive does not have to affect me. I can stand in my power and command respect. Not because you will respect me. That's not commanding respect. Do you respect people who act like that? No. But to say, oh, let me tell you my truth. That commands respect. There's power there. I want you to be powerful. And I want you to know that powerlessness starts here and here. I lost my power when I said, oh my God, it's awful. Had no power in the situation. Because then it was up to fight. Guarantee I wouldn't win that one. But reclaiming that power allowed me to move out of Ain't It Awful to, well, I wonder what that's going to look like. Well, I didn't really like those trees anyway. Let's see what's new. What new could come up? There's more I want to say on the subject, but I'm going to leave it at that point. I had a Bible verse, but I'm not going to give that to you today. I want to set that aside for another time. So what am I waiting for? Hold on. We're waiting for data input. Because I don't feel finished, but I'm done talking. So hold on. I prefer to have it my way and be done. Nope. Oh, there it is. Okay. Don't you just love it? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was going to save this for a whole nother time, but here it is. I'm going to talk to you about gratitude. Gratitude is one of the keys that will get you into a state of being empowered. Now I want to tell you about gratitude. Gratitude is not saying, oh, I'm grateful for the stars, I'm grateful for the sun, I'm grateful for the moon, grateful for my husband, grateful for this, grateful for that. I was reminded of when I was a little kid in grade school, and the teacher had us made these turkeys and colored them, and they were stapled on the outside and had a back, and we taped them up on the walls, and they had an opening so you could put gratitudes in there. And I got gratitude for my mom, gratitude for my dad, gratitude for this toy, and this other kid was whipping out all these gratitudes. His turkey was stuffed. And I got mad about that. And then I realized he cheated. Well, that's what I tell myself. That's a story I tell myself. But just saying, writing something down and saying, oh, I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for this other thing. It's not gratitude. Let me tell you gratitude. Gratitude. I was talking with my brother the other day, and he nailed this. Oh my gosh, he nailed it. I said, that's it. That's the words. That's perfect. He thought I'd shot him, so I have to be careful with it. That's it. Oh, sorry. Gratitude. If this is a dangerous weapon. Gratitude is deep, intense awareness focused on appreciation. It's a deep appreciation. It's a focused appreciation. It's an awareness that carries appreciation with it. Oh, thank you for the sun. That's not enough. I mean, I hate to say not enough, but it's not enough. That's fleeting. Because there's a magic here. There's a power here. I want to talk to you about this power here, okay? So when I can say, I am so grateful for the sun when it shines on my face, warms me in the spring, the flowers grow, I really appreciate that. And I can really appreciate the cool breeze as it blows across my face. I really appreciate that. What happens when we get into that state of appreciation and gratitude? What we send out is this gratitude. And what washes back over us is like this big, huge tidal wave of peace and joy and love. If you can apply gratitude to something in this deep appreciation, all this energy of joy and peace and love will wash back over you. Try it. It's the coolest darn thing. And it's more than just, I'm really grateful for it, blah, blah, blah. This is that deep appreciation. So find something in your world that you're grateful for. Just think of something in your world right this second that you're really grateful for. Now apply deep appreciation for it. Appreciate all aspects of it. Itemize those aspects that are so wonderful and bring you such goodness that you have that gratitude in your soul for that. And you feel that backwash of love and joy and peace. It's profound. It's profound. Now, take that feeling of gratitude, that deep, intense appreciation, and apply it to a problem. apply it to a problem. I'm really grateful this really sucky thing is happening because, find the cause, dig for it. I'm really grateful this building project is going to happen because I don't know what's happening yet. And it could be really wonderful. I could have a beautiful fence. I could have a beautiful bunch of neighbors that I don't know yet. Find something that you're having struggles with and send out appreciation about that. Gratitude, thankfulness, and feel this love and joy and peace wash back over. Powerful stuff. All of a sudden, this problem is less than a problem. And I hate becomes I prefer. And you move into this state of empowerment where now you can stand as a true human, as an equal, and negotiate from a place of power. Not just a place of power, but the power of love, the power of joy, and the power of peace, all applied together. How cool is that? And now it's done. Mr. Phil, if you would join me, sir. That was the thank you, that's heavy. I don't know how waitresses do that. You know, if you have a waitress, tip her well, would you? Communion. This is our opportunity to share that love, that joy, and that peace, and be in harmony with that. Bring it into every aspect of our life. Would you join us in prayer, please? Loving Spirit of Light, help us to face each day with gratitude and power. Walk with us in all things. This we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. Many blessings. As that continues around, would you join us in prayer again, please? Loving Spirit of Light, as we drink this in, help us to drink in life, all of it. Help us to stay out of that ain't it awful and that default activity. And help us to move into trust, appreciation, and love. These things we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Well, I do. I usually ask when people are just sitting there and they have to officially say yes or no. That was nice.
Hello. Been attending church here about 1.5 to 2 years. So thankful. This is the first time I've had to do this, so I'm a little bit nervous, but so thankful for the
You didn't have time
church.
to think about it.
No. And the people here and the warmth and the love and the acceptance. And if you can give and share what you can or just send a blessing.
Thank you. Well said. Did beautifully. Speak now.
I don't know about you, but from Janice's talk this morning, I am so filled with joy and love and peace. I want to give her an ovation. Thank you very, very much. Oh my gosh. Over the top this morning. Thank you.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Don't you love it when I get stirred up? While the contribution is going around, I want to hand out graduation certificates of completion for the recent Dream Quest. Not everyone is here. I'll mention their name and then they can pick up their certificate later. Christine McKenzie, which is Beth's daughter. Sarah Canella, she's not here. Candela? Oh, somebody say yes? Okay. Eva's not here. Kendall Miller. Then Heidi, you might as well follow him up. How was it doing this together?
It was great.
It was great. Do you have any comments you want to make about Dream Quest at all? You don't have to.
No. There's things that you think that you will expect to happen, and then there's the joys of the unexpected. And for me, there were a lot of joys when we were learning some of the tools. I thought maybe some of them I had heard of or understood, but there was just a whole new level to it, and that was really joyful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said when we started, it was I saw it as a path of discovery, and indeed it turned out to be that, and I appreciate everything I learned. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad you were part of it. Scott, you next. I've also attached your dreams to the certificate. You can see if it's how that matches up for you. You've already talked. Joe Schmidt. Sir, if you would please. Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah.
Oh, this is scary.
Okay, now I'm ready. No, I just want to say that the Dream Quest class was, it opened my eyes a little bit more. I knew pretty much what was going to go on with the class because Val took it. And when she takes a class and she comes home, everybody knows what's going on.
Why not, I say?
But I was real impressed with the energy and the work that Janice had to do just to teach the class and keep it going and organized. And I appreciate the alumni that helped in the class. It was really a good class. And for everybody in the full circle, congratulations.
That's right. Allie, you're next. Why don't you tell them what just happened this morning?
Oh my goodness. So in our Dream Quest class, we are given tools to help us manage anything from the little stresses and fatigues to some of the really big stuff that can be really worrisome. Night before last, my sister called me, and she lives down in San Francisco with her fiance. And I was on my way out. She was hysterical. She was in tears. She says, "Oh my gosh, Jaime's in the ICU. He has a brain bleed. He's unconscious. He was hooked up to tubes and everything." We were all really, really scared. And I didn't get a chance to talk to her yesterday. She wasn't able to answer her phone, just being there. And one of the things that we had learned with Janice was about the healing and bringing in the light and pulling out the yuck. And it was something that I had shared with my sister a couple of weeks ago when we had learned it. I was like, "Oh yeah, look at this really cool thing. You can go home and try it on."
See, Val, see, yeah.
And
You're vindicated. You're vindicated.
yes, and so I had told my sister about this, and she's like, "Oh, okay, well that's really cool." This morning, while he was still under, she had her hand on the base of his head right here in the back of his neck, and she said, "I just concentrated on that love and that light and pulling out the yuck." And she says, after just a few minutes of doing this, he woke up. And And so as I was standing there talking to Janice this morning, my phone had rang and it was her calling to tell me. She's like, oh my gosh, he's awake and he was asking for me. And she goes, he even tried to pucker up and smooch me. And so I mean, needless to say, this stuff works, and there's no, the things that you learn, there's no going back to being, you know, what you thought was your normal, right? And so lots and lots of stuff that I am extremely grateful for learning and for Janice. So thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thanks for sharing that story.
You're welcome.
Sharon? Do you have anything you'd like to say? You don't have to if you don't want to. It was the, okay. It was the deer in the headlights. Unlike Phil, I'm not merciless. Sue Hayes is not here. Dan McDonald. Mary Ann, why don't you come too? They took it together. How fun is that? Couples taking it together. Want to say anything?
I'll say just a little bit here. Interesting ways you learn how to deal with food, to bless it and purify it and so on. But the pink balloon technique, which is one of the least.
Oh, don't share it.
I'm not going to say what it was, but if you know, for those of you that are interested in taking a class in the future, it's useful. I'll tell you.
It works. It works. That's worth the price of admission, right there.
It does work. It really does. It was a struggle, and it was scary, and it was unsure, and it was safe, and it was sound, and it was all of that all at once. When I really noticed the difference was last week when I got up here and spoke. I have shifted. The nervousness isn't there anymore. Something has changed. Not sure yet what it is, but the only thing I can contribute it to was that class.
Thank you. Congratulations. Then Jackie, she's not here. Luann is not here. Kathleen is not here. And BJ is not here. So they'll get their certifications later on. So we're running a tad late, but I'd still like to do a guided meditation if you're up for it. Yay! Okay. And by the way, the